So one of the biggest challenges in philosophy was this term called the hard problem of consciousness, which was uh, made up by David Chalmers. And basic idea here is that how we explain how what is fundamentally the material states becomes conscious. Okay? How, if that's what there is these like material particle states, how that can transform into a conscious state, how that creates a subjective experience to which we feel, right? Like, we don't really have a good explanation for why or how that can happen. We have a lot of explanations for correlations of consciousness on like the neurological level, that we can find that when there's this spike in neurological activity, that there is this awareness of, like we can find these correlations, but we don't know why that is what it is conscious. You know what I'm saying here? Like, that's called the hard problem of consciousness in philosophy, okay? And here's what I suggest is a simple solution to this, okay? That what there actually isn't just fundamental inert material states. There's actually a living and conscious nature to this. So it's not that consciousness just comes out of the material states, like there's material states and they're just like, whoa, I'm conscious now. Like, it doesn't just magically come out of that. It is intrinsic to the entire universe itself. The entire universe itself is living and aware. Now, it's not aware like it's aware like us. Like, they're not like walking around like an atom and molecules are walking around having their little atom kids and, going around like, I'm an atom, I'm going to work, blah, Like, they're not just like, I'm an atom, I'm horny, let's go fuck that other atom, I feel hungry and horny, yay. That's not what an atom feels, but there's some nature of consciousness and awareness and living being, living nature to that and to all the processes of the universe. So there's atoms and there's subatomic particles, and ultimately what some people call like the basic bit of information of our universe, which is these Planck spherical units, which is like the smallest electromagnetic wavelength, and it's a Planck length is all that. And then like Nassim Haramein mostly spelled this out. You look up into his stuff, Nissimharemein. There's no E first, messed up. But whatever. So that's what's the interesting part here. And this allows for this organization of the universe by having this awareness. This awareness is fundamental within the universe, because there can't be these organization factors. There can't just be things that exist without there being an intrinsic awareness of their existence. Once it's there, there has to be a whole universe, a whole existence aware of it. That's the whole thing. So consciousness doesn't just come out of non-conscious, inert material states. And that just doesn't even make any fucking sense. And that's like the basic paradigm of physicalism or materialism in philosophy today. I mean, it's just trying to explain that in a certain way, but you're not going to be able to explain it because it's not what's fucking happening here, okay? Probably. I don't really fucking know what's actually happening here, really. I'm just saying I think this view makes a little more sense, that the universe itself is fundamentally living and conscious. Now, it's not that's all I'm saying. What does it mean for the universe to be conscious? There's more to this, but I want to leave this a little short. I'll go in other videos and kind of go on deeper explanations of all this shit. And there is a lot, and it has to do with consciousness as this feedback mechanism. Okay, that's some very interesting shit. And how it has this feedback mechanism of these information states. Now, what the fuck is information states? I've tried to figure that out for a while. Basically, I think it's some states of geometry. And it has this communication of information states, and everything's like this black hole, all these systems, whether it's a cell, an atom, a biological organism, a planet, stars, solar systems, galaxies, intergalactic or galactic clusters, supergalactic clusters or galactic superclusters, whatever the fuck they are, like a bunch of fucking galaxies together, like being all galactic and shit. And so they all have this communication and this fundamental point of it, and he's done all the fucking math on this, of this point of where the information is constantly communicating back and forth between a black hole and a white hole, which radiates out the information. Black hole takes it in like gravity, white hole radiates it out like electromagnetism and shit. I mean, this is sort of like, And this is other science, basically. It is science, absolutely is. And it has all this, so there's this constant information exchange of these states, and this is what is fundamentally creates is consciousness and is the process of organization in the universe. Okay? So this also answers the question, basically, to the fine-tuned nature of the universe, is that science comes up and says there's these fundamental 22 constants, and they're all just arbitrary constants, and they just have to be a certain way, and we have no explanation why they're a certain way, and it's just, but it's really not that there's all these random flawed constants, it's that there's these process of organizational states, and which also comes back to the same point of we don't know why there's fundamental this organizational states, but there is. And that's synonymous with consciousness. So maybe there's existence all beyond that, and there's all kind of stuff, and then it just happens to be able to create this organizational states, and that makes more sense than saying there's just all this random fucking existence, and it just happens to have this random combination of arbitrary constants. You see? So the universe itself, what we find ourselves in here, is this entire living and conscious construct. And we're just part of that living and conscious construct through this one particular mechanism of consciousness. All right?